Good evening, councillors, staff, members of the public. I declare this meeting open. Okay, sorry, councillors. Just getting on up where we are here. In declaring this meeting open, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Wadandi Noongar people, and pay our respect as elders past, present and future. There are no further announcements from myself. We have no apologies. Councillor McCleary is on leave. There are a couple of declarations of interest there, councillors, that have been sent in. Are there any other declarations of interest? Councillor Steck. 1511.
Yes.
Impartial interest, Councillor Steck.
It's actually trivial, but it's also financial, because my partner owns Telstra shares through a company.
Just careful talking about the tenderers, Councillor Steck.
Sorry?
Just careful talking about the tenderers there on that one. So financial, Councillor Steck, will you...
It's impartial as well, because the shares that are owned are not owned that we will be seeking.
Okay, so you'll be staying in the room?
Yes, please.
Thanks, Councillor Steck. Thank you. Are there any further declarations of interest?
A similar situation.
Okay, thanks, Councillor. And you'll stay in the room. Could you please fill out one of those forms when you get a chance? Thanks, Councillor Gassop. And that is a impartial interest from Councillor Gassop on item 15.1.1, and he will stay in the room. Are there any further declarations of interest? No, that is fine. Can we have confirmation from the minutes from the previous meeting, 7.1.1? We have a mover for that, please. Thank you, Councillor Giles. Seconder, Councillor Plum. I'll put that. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Minutes from the working groups there, councillors, the Heritage Committee and the Audit Committee. Could I have a mover for those that we accept and note? Thank you, Councillor Smith, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Quain. I'll put that. Those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. There are no petitions, presentations and deputations. So dealing with tonight's council meeting, councillors coming out for discussion at this stage. 10.2.1 needs to come out as there's just some minor wording changes to that recommendation. 10.4.1 is coming out as that requires an absolute majority. 10.4.2 is coming out as that requires an absolute majority. And the two tenders, confidential items at 15.11 and 15.12 will also be coming out. Was there any further for discussion, councillors? BSAC, deferred?
Yes.
Yep.
So how can we have changes to it? Doesn't the exact recommendation have to come back? That we actually deferred prior with no actual changes? My understanding.
I might just get a comment from the governance team, acting CEO, if that's okay through you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. That item was deferred as opposed to a debate being adjourned, councillor. So if debate was adjourned on the matter, obviously the motion would need to come back as was debated at that particular time. But because it was deferred, officers added some additional context to that recommendation.
It's very minor, councillor still, but we'll deal with that. Any others out for discussion? If that's the case, could I have somebody move the remainders moved on block? Thank you, Councillor Plum. A seconder, Councillor Giles. I'll put that. All in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. So, coming to 10.2.1. Councillors, as you can see, the change there for 10.2.1 does not support the re-establishment of BSAC at this time. Could I have a mover for that executive recommendation? Is there a mover? Can't see it. A seconder? Councillor Turner, thank you. You're excused from... Is there likely to be any debate around this, councillors? Yes. Councillor Yip.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I think it's premature to bring BSAC back at the moment. Surge is operating really well. I don't know what would happen to Surge if BSAC was brought back. I feel that with the climate action policy and the things coming to council for those, we'll probably incorporate a lot of the working groups and committee requirements around similar things that BSAC would do. Thank you.
Councillor Yip. Councillor Turner. You don't need to stand, Councillor Turner, we understand.
By the time I get up there, it'll be- Thank you. As Councillor Yip said, BSAC are already doing a good job. Should they have any issues, they can always come to us and we can always put a motion forward or bring it to the annual general meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is there a speaker against? Councillor Steck.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I noticed the gentleman through you, Bernard Bishop, is in the audience, and I believe through the annual electors meeting that request came from the floor of the annual electors meeting and it was unanimous. So council does have an obligation to actually re-establish the BSAC, and they also should work in unison with CERG, because I notice Mr Bernard Bishop is on both of them. So, and I would urge councillors to listen to their community.
Thank you, Councillor Steck. Is there a speaker for this recommendation? Councillor Yip. Nothing further. I'll put the recommendation as it stands. Those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that motion is lost. Do we have an alternative?
Yes, Mr Mayor, and that is to re-establish the BSAC committee. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a second for that? Councillor Quain. We might just need to get some wording around this one, Councillor Steck.
So point 1,
Yep.
just remove does not, and
Yep.
just start with support the re-establishment of the BSAC at this time. Or you need to take out at this time too.
Yep.
And then, and get rid of all the rest and say that, just put a one-liner in to say, as per requested from the annual electors meeting.
So, minute taker, you can probably remove the rest after
That's right.
given that community environmental reference group. You can probably get rid of that. And still happy with point 2, Councillor Steck?
Yes, I have no problem with that, sir.
Thank you. I'll just wait for this, thanks. Is that Councillor Steck?
Yes, that's fine, sir.
And this was seconded by Councillor Quain. Councillor Steck? Anything, sorry, Councillor Steck, we're into the debate now as mover, or would you like to make any further comment?
No, I'll just enter the, don't need to enter the debate because that is the, what was requested from the annual general electors meeting, and I just urge councillors to support it.
Councillor Quain?
Yeah, I would like council to support this alternate motion, as I would like to see the re-establishment of BSAC. I believe that this will be an important decision on council to ensure that BSAC becomes a formal committee of council, so that there is a formal mechanism for issues raised from the public to be brought through to the council's attention by the minutes from the meeting of the BSAC. I urge the councillors to please support this alternate motion.
Is there a speaker against? Councillor?
Yeah, it was of my understanding, we've already got surge happening. And most of the people that would probably end up being on the BESAC are currently already in that group. So I don't know why we need the experts on another expert panel. And it was of my understanding that Bernard was quite happy if this group didn't get it re-established. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I was of. Thank you.
Is there a speaker for? Councillor Steck.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll just reiterate that there was a whole room full of people at the annual meeting of electors and it was unanimous. I urge you to support the motion, please.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Are those against? Councillor Turner, Yip, Plum, Miguel and Andrew are against, and that motion is carried. (10.4.1) Councillors, this requires an absolute majority. Could I have a mover for that recommendation?
So moved.
Councillor Smith and Councillor Steck. Happy to second, Councillor Steck. Thank you. Likely to be any debate, councillors? If that's the case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 10.4.2, which also requires an absolute majority. Could I have a mover for this one, please? Councillor Andrew, seconder. Councillor Steck, thank you. Is there likely to be any debate, councillors? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. So before we deal with the confidential items, councillors, we have an application for leave of absence for Councillor Mulcahy. Could I have a mover for that one, please? Thank you, Councillor Andrew. A seconder, Councillor Giles. Thank you. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillors, we have a couple of confidential items to deal with. Could I have somebody move that we go behind closed doors? Thank you, Councillor Andrew. And a seconder, thank you, Councillor Plum. I'll put that. All in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Members of the public and the stream, thank you, minute taker.